Well, hello there and welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jennifer Anderson, host of the show and executive director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. Well, seems like only yesterday we were heading into 2021. We were in the midst of the global pandemic and really looking forward to a year where we were able to open, reopen, and recover. And now 12 months later, we're still dealing with the pandemic. Businesses all across the country, but specifically for us locally, we're struggling and continue to struggle. But we are hopeful for a better 2022. This show, we are concentrating on our year in review. So it's a little bit about the past, a little bit about what businesses have faced over the last year and what we are hoping for in 2022. I'm very excited to have three guests on this show who are very much a part of this community. And, you know, one of my favorite quotes is, if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it. And these three certainly exude that. They are not only very active with the Georgina Chamber of Commerce, but they are also all business owners. They are all very philanthropic and give back to our community. I want to introduce them to you now. First, we have Jim Beachy. He is a director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. He's past president. He's on many, many boards in this community, and he's the owner of Beach Tree Marketing. Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. We have next our Ward 1 councillor. He is our council-appointed rep on the Chamber of Commerce. He is also the owner of CPG Aerospace. Thank you, Mike, for being a part of the show. You are also very active in the community and on many boards in this community. So welcome to the show.
Jen, as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thanks, Mike. And last but not least, we have my chamber sidekick. Amanda Stewart is not only the membership and events coordinator here at the chamber, but she is the owner of I Do Weddings. She is also very active in giving back to the community and different events that take place throughout the year. So welcome, Amanda, and thank you for being here with me.
Hi, Jen. I'm not ever far from you, my lovely.
No. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to start with you then, Amanda. It seems like only yesterday that we were having this conversation. We were doing a year in review for 2020, and now all of a sudden it's a year later. It's been a busy year for the Chamber of Commerce.
It absolutely has been a busy year. It has been a year full of different still. I think 2020 was very different for us here in the office and when it came to events and what they look like. And while I think in 2020, we thought that would be kind of the only time we would be doing those, lo and behold, we now have experience because we're doing the same thing a second year. So, you know, we grew off of that first year and provided similar events in a different way, which I think is great. You know, we had a lot of fun doing it, which is great.
Yeah. Businesses have, and I say this very carefully because businesses have struggled, but there's other businesses that have really flourished during this time. Well, I'm assuming that you agree with me on that.
Absolutely. I think every business has definitely had its struggles, but they've also had their successes. I think a good majority, you know, in talking to the business community, they've all learned something through COVID that they will keep moving forward. And that's a positive thing. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. You know, there are definitely struggles and, you know, we definitely need to pay attention to those, but there are successes, like I said, and many things that businesses have pivoted, you know, that word we can't avoid. You know, they've pivoted. They really have. They've learned something. They've, you know, taught themselves. They've learned something new to integrate into their everyday operations and are moving forward with that. And that's a great thing.
Do you feel that, Mike? Because I know that you were out and about with different hats on in this community, but do you see how businesses are and how they're dealing with the pandemic?
I do, Jen, and I'm going to echo something that Amanda said with regards to learning. You know, I had taken over a business in the mid 2000s, which is what I'm currently owning. And in that financial crisis, you know, that hit us. It's lessons from that helped me succeed over the 10 years since then. So Amanda brings up a great point that there are definitely struggles from companies, but those who survive this are going to survive it stronger on the other end. There are a lot of businesses that struggle. My heart breaks for them, especially in the retail or the food services industry. But for those that weren't that front line kind of took that hit, everybody else is going to come out of this a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm guessing, Jim, you would agree, as somebody who's worked in marketing and with marketing, you've seen the changes in kind of that marketing role and heading into online or being more social or now doing things with Zoom, like like this show.
Oh, exactly. I mean, everybody's had to change the way they've done things. I think social media has been kind of a real savior for a lot of people because it enabled them to get their messages out there in maybe not a traditional manner for most of them, but they've been able to get their message and through into probably capture more of the local market, which is what they need to do because people couldn't move around. So I think without social media, some of us love it and some of us hate it, but it has helped a lot of small businesses. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah. The thing about each of you and my guests today are the fact that, you are involved with the chamber. You are, whether you are on the board or staff, but you are dealing with businesses on a regular basis. But the fact that you get it, that you understand because you're a business owner, because you are going through it, certainly helps not only our organization, but just this community and letting them know they aren't alone. Amanda, I know from working with you every day, watching weddings or watching the lack of weddings that have existed over this last year has really been a struggle, and the events industry has really suffered.
The events industry has suffered greatly in the last 2 years. 2020 was to be kind of the biggest wedding season on record. And, everyone was very quick to just move things to 2021. And, now here we are. At the end of 2021 and nothing really changed. Things are now being pushed again. And, I think the struggles are different for the wedding industry now in just that, we are seeing that there are bigger events that are happening. You can go to watch the Toronto Maple Leafs, for example, but, you can't have 120 people like at a wedding that are your closest family and friends, for example, right? So things are definitely changing. The vaccination pass has been, brought into play. There's lots of layers to what is crippling the event industry at this point, unfortunately. And, do I see things changing? Not yet, unfortunately. If I had a magic 8-ball, I would love to be able to say, by March, we'll be able to do that. But, I'm really hoping that, for sure, things start moving forward and continue moving forward. We are at kind of a standstill. We've been at this standstill since, the end of August. And, I'm really hoping that things are moving forward soon, for sure.
And I'm reminding all of our viewers that we are taping the show on December 14th. And as you know, ever since March of 2020, things change almost daily, that there's different protocols, different things that exist. And while we have been heading in the right direction, as you mentioned, Amanda, things are changing. Mike, are you concerned? Like Amanda talks about that magic 8-ball, is there a concern, or what do you think the biggest challenges are going to be for businesses coming up in early 2022?
Okay, so I should probably preface it by saying that when I'm answering this question, I definitely don't have my counselor hat on. Okay, this is strictly business. Okay. The concerns that Amanda's brought up are incredibly valid for the industry that Amanda's in. So with me in manufacturing, and you can take a look at a lot of supply chain. 2021 wasn't a bad year. 2020 was the bad year. 2021 is the recovery. But now we're into the next phase of what's occurred because of what's happened over the last 18 months, and that's going to be supply chain for everybody else in the retail sector. So I see manufacturing, distribution, resources, those kind of things doing exceptionally well over the next little while. But I think that what people see at shops is going to be a different situation over the next 6 to 12 months.
Right. And you don't have an 8-ball anywhere in your office.
I sadly don't. If I did, I probably wouldn't be going into an office. But yeah, I see some significant struggles over the next little while for specific industries.
Yeah, and I think we see that as a chamber. And Jim, I'm going to ask you, because there have been a lot of businesses that have received funding. They've received grants and opportunities. And I know with your different hats on different boards, you have seen a lot of those grants and resources that have come through for businesses. And now some of them are ending, or some of them, aren't being extended. And so now we're hearing from businesses that may be a struggle. Are you hearing that as well?
We are, but I'm a little bit encouraged. One of my other hats is with Community Futures, and we're a micro bank. I won't explain exactly what that is to folks, but we participated in administering a lot of the government grants, the SERB grants, the relief and recovery programs, and that sort of thing. And surprisingly, we're having a number of these, all small businesses, mind you. We are seeing some of these loans getting paid back already, but it is a concern because a lot of small businesses are carrying a lot of extra debt. Some of them are carrying significant debt going into this thing, and these grants and loans that they got, the loans seem like a great deal of time. This adds to the challenge coming forward. So I really think we're not, from the small business perspective, I don't think we've really seen the impact yet. I think it's coming into next year as people are starting to come out of it and then trying to deal with what they have behind them is going to be the big challenge.
And Amanda, you're nodding. You agree with that?
I would agree. Absolutely. I think there's still so much unknown, the magic 8-ball. I keep referring to that, you referred to it as well, Jen, just the changes and how quickly they come. If there's one thing that we've learned in the last 2 years is that, you may be perfectly understanding of what is happening today. And if things stay status quo, you'll be fine. But there's a big but, and you never really know what's going to happen tomorrow. And you don't know what those changes are going to look like. You don't know how those changes are going to affect you in your individual sector. And, those changes are affecting everybody very differently. So that unknown is very uneasy. It leaves that kind of pit in the bottom of your stomach, and it's hard to plan. There are a number of business owners, myself included, that, plans 6 to 12 months ahead always. And, it's next to impossible to do that in these changing times. It really is, which leaves an unsettling feeling for sure.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about the chamber, and I think we would be remiss in not talking about this last year and some of what we've done. And Amanda, you alluded to it. It's, we did a pivot in 2020, and we really were continuing with that in 2021. One of the biggest assets that we have heard from our members is the emails that we have been sending out, and the fact that when an announcement comes, when something is brought up or changes and resources are being announced, that we are sending it out and deciphering it for our members. Amanda, is that what you're hearing as well from the office?
Yes, absolutely. I think the fact that, our members don't necessarily have to watch those announcements, because let's be honest, they're not always good news, right? The fact that they can rely on a trusted resource for that information, being us here in the office, we are listening to those announcements. We know when they're happening, before they're happening. We are getting that information out before it's even hitting the news, the local media, that's what we have done for the past almost 2 years, and like I said, that news hasn't always been great. And at the same time, it sometimes has been great, good, bad, or otherwise. We are getting that information into people's hands right away, with resources, with direct links and websites, and further information can be found here. And I think that is something that has definitely brought us to the forefront and made us much more valuable than ever before. I also think, we do have a rapid test program. That rapid test program has become vital in our town. We have given out over 9,000 rapid tests to over 100 businesses here in Georgina, and that number is going up hourly. We're keeping people safe. We're keeping people working. And I think that more so than ever is critical these days.
Yeah. Well, and we saw that this morning. We come into work this morning and there's 10 more requests from 10 different businesses for rapid tests. So it certainly, it goes in waves as different announcements and protocols are announced, but certainly right now it's become very busy again. Mike, you, and this is such a biased question, right? As somebody who's in who owns a business, as somebody who's a chamber member, as somebody who's on the board, are those emails, is that resource for the chamber a valuable asset for businesses? There's only one correct answer for this.
Yeah. Am I ever glad that you gave me the opportunity to give a fully truthful answer on this one? That isn't prompted at all. In all reality, I am one of those people that watched all of the announcements, and I have to say that it was a relief actually getting the emails that showed a breakdown or a point form listing of what was in the announcement itself. There were a number of times where I had to check what I heard them say, and then find out that yes, that actually was what I heard, or a couple of instances where I might have misheard something, and it was right there on in letters in my emails. So yes, thank you very much for sending those out. They were absolutely useful. Now the chamber just has to pivot once the pandemic's over to be sending those out about other topics.
Yeah, and I don't think the topics will dry up for us as we head into 2022. Not only do we still have that kind of recovery, but we really we have shifted over the last 18 months or 20 months to that advocacy role and figuring out what the needs are of businesses in this community and making sure that we're getting them that information. So whether it's, the resources that are available for recovery, or it's resources and grants that are available for businesses in the tourism industry or different sectors, I think we're well on our way to advocating more than ever before for our local businesses. Speaking of tourism, Jim, one of your roles is as the chair of the tourism committee, and we've certainly, as we talked about at the top of the show, sectors that were hit hard. Our tourism sector has really been hit in this community.
Oh, definitely. I mean, tourism here locally and across the province, across the country, basically it started with a total shutdown, and it's gradually clawing its way back, but it is very, very slow because people just weren't going out to eat, to go to events, to go to hotels. They just weren't doing that. It's coming back slowly, but it was really hit hard, and it is struggling to come back. But I got to admit, though, I think they're doing a good job. I think they are listening to the protocols put forth by the government, and they are getting people back into restaurants. They're getting some people back to hotels. Mind you, it's not at the level and the rate they would like it, but they are opening up. And thanks to just to pick up on what everybody else said a minute ago, I mean, apart from what the chamber does in terms of communicating, but we are also an advocate. We are, through Ontario Chamber, we are encouraging sectors to be opened up again and helping the government figure out how to make that happen. So we are there to hold the hands of people as well. And a lot of the small businesses that we represent don't have any other way of doing it. And right. They are certainly there to do that.
Well, and another question for you, one of the things that the chamber really did, because tourists weren't coming to our community, is taking a look and shifting the mindset of what a tourist is. And so if it's not somebody who's coming from out of town or out of province, maybe it's somebody who's just, at the south end of Keswick, who's never been to Pefferlaw before, or vice versa. And so how do we get people moving safely in their own community? And that's kind of what the tourism committee has been doing over the last couple of years.
Oh, definitely. I mean, people don't even know their own community. I mean, we're a particularly unique community. We got several small towns within, and a lot of the people, particularly newer residents, do not even know what's at the north end of our community. And so I think we've been doing a pretty good job of helping people understand what's here and getting them to move to different areas of town. And hopefully after this is all behind us, sometime late next year, maybe, people will stay here and start appreciating what they have locally. At least that's the goal. And we can only do what we can do, but I think we're doing a good job. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that word local is so important, not only, for a tourist and being a tourist in your own backyard, but the idea of shop local and just giving back and really connecting your community to the resources that exist. Amanda, we have been inundated with a shop local campaign. We started it in June of last year. We've always done short shop local campaigns, but in June of 2020, we did a continual shop local campaign that is up to and including our holiday shop local. And that's what we're working on now.
Yes. And I think, shopping local, or that tagline, shop local, help your neighbors, it's nothing new. It really isn't. But for whatever reason, I shouldn't even say whatever reason, through hard work of the chamber, I think we really are kind of making an impact finally. People are really starting to get on the bandwagon and understand that at the end of the day, the business owners that we all know and love that donate to all of us and support our community in so many ways, those are the people that we need to support at this time, now more than ever, especially in the biggest shopping season of the year. You need to be more able and more willing to spend a couple extra dollars down at our local store as opposed to getting on that highway or getting online. Now more than ever, you need to support each other. We need to be supporting our neighbors, and it's no longer a shop local. It's help each other. Together, we will get through this. And, we are actually seeing that, which is phenomenal. And, we have, through so many different avenues, a shop local gift giving guide, a storefront decorating challenge, a bingo contest, coloring contest, like the list goes on in ways that you can shop and support and help each other. It's all on our website, shoplocal.georgina.ca. If you haven't been there, I fully encourage you to go. There's still plenty of time to take advantage and to help out and, to learn something new and, give back to something different and, try something different this season. And I encourage all of us to do that, and it doesn't stop Christmas Eve. It has to continue into the new year and beyond. And Shop Local Georgina will continue far beyond the holiday season. Yeah. And if anyone is looking for ways or has ideas, you don't necessarily just have to go to the website and follow what we're doing. Share with us. We encourage you to kind of think, do, and be local this season and beyond, really.
Right. So I have 3 guests on this show today that are very, very passionate about Georgina, which I love. They're my people. So just a couple of minutes left. Mike, why, when it comes to Georgina, what is the draw for people? What's the most valuable asset, and how are we getting through this together?
Very vague question. Thanks, Jen. But it completely depends. If we're talking along the lines of what Jim touched on with tourism, obviously you want to be welcoming to those outside of the community. If we're talking about the affordability of homes, etc., then obviously that's there too. One thing that I can I've lived in numerous communities. My business is in another community, and every community has their benefits and a lot of cliches as well. However, one thing that I've noticed with Georgina in general is it's people's affinity to be generous. I know they are, and yet every single time I see it, I'm impressed. So I would say that the community rallies behind people very, very well. So I presume to also say that the Shop Local campaign is a great initiative for retail and somewhat for tourism as well. But the people in the community will rally behind it, and I love seeing that.
Yeah. Jim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I echo a lot of what Mike said, but I think one of our community is a bit unique. We're part of the GTA, yet we're somewhat rural, but we're also resort-like. In other words, we have beaches, we have shorelines, we have marinas, and that sort of thing. So it's an easy way for somebody within the GTA or just beyond the GTA, if they want that experience and they want to the beach experience and that sort of thing, and they can't travel far, we've got it. And we've got some great local businesses that they can use while they're here. So I just think it's a fantastic respite for people within the GTA. And it's just it's a little unknown place north of Toronto that the people can escape to very easily.
Yeah, I agree. And about a minute left. Amanda, I left you as last because I know we're going to take this out emotional. For you, what is it? What is it about Georgina?
Well, I absolutely agree with both my co anchors, hosts, whatever we're calling ourselves today. Yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of things to do while you're here, but it's the people that keep you here. You know, there is no shortage of heart in Georgina at all. You know, every single person you meet will have a great story about something that they did or someone else that they met, or, you know, someone that they know of that, you know, when they were down and out, you know, was picked up and put on their feet, pat them on the bum and send them on their way. You know, like, especially at this time of year, you know, there's lots to give to, and, you know, people that are in need, absolutely. And, you know, there is absolutely no shortage of people to help them. And, you know, moving forward into 2022, I don't see that changing at all.
Perfect way to end the show. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Mike and Jim, for being a part of it. On behalf of everybody at Rogers TV Georgina and, of course, the Georgina Chamber of Commerce, we're wishing you the happiest of holidays. Be safe, and looking forward to a very prosperous 2022 for our Georgina business community. Shop local, Georgina. See you next time.